we have to talk about it. Okay. It's kind of embarrassing that I have to make this video. The fact that so many things are happening now to where we have to discuss teabagging. That's right. You heard it right. Teabagging. So the reason why we're making this video here today is because there's been a lot of commotion going on, especially with, the recent items with Dilly getting banned from that Apex tournament, Patty the Batty, teabagging his opponent after beating him, and a couple other things happened on the Valorant scene. So the what's in controversy is whether or not teabagging is considered SA. Okay, I'm using the words SA because YouTube doesn't like it when you use the full words. Okay, so as you guys know, SA stands for S. We all know what S stands for. A, assault. Okay, to give you a little bit of background. So the $1 million question, right, coming from an esports attorney. Is teabagging in video games SA? And to no surprise, the answer to that, in my opinion, is generally no. Okay? But before we talk about that, let me kind of introduce myself to you guys if it's the first time watching one of our videos. My name is Nefi Lopez. I'm an esports attorney that represents players, streamers, and personalities, and I am also the co-host of a podcast known as The Law of Esports. You may have heard about us. You may not have heard about us. We're making our rounds right now, but this is going to be a video, part of our new series where we put out shorter form content discussing some of the legal intricacies of things that shouldn't be so complex, but are. This one, I think you'll agree with me, is a little less complex, right? Teabagging in video games. It's been around forever, at least as far as I can remember, back in my Halo days. For those of you guys who don't know what teabagging is, let me give you a little example, okay? You see this here? This is a tweet put out by Jake Lucky. As you can tell, we've got a little character here that is crouching on top of another character. Now, one of the things I love about Halo is their ragdoll mechanism. As you could tell, the ragdoll mechanism of the body is reacting to another character crouching on top of it, okay? This is what teabagging is, all right? Now that you have an idea as to what it is, believe it or not, some people are saying that that particular activity inside of a video game with video game characters crouching on top of another one is considered SA, right? And for those of you guys, trigger warning, we will be discussing the definition of SA and whether or not that applies to video games. So if you're triggered by SA or the R word or anything like that, I would suggest you move on now. I'm not going to get into too much detail. Really, this isn't a complex conversation that we need to have, but it is one that we need to have just to provide some clarity. Okay? So let's get into the meat and bones. SA, just so you guys understand, that particular word is defined in a number of ways throughout the country. As you guys may not be surprised, every state has a different definition for what qualifies as SA. But generally speaking, SA is a crime, okay, in which an offender or a violator subjects a victim or another person to touching that is unwanted or offensive, okay? Touching, physical touching. That is one of the essential elements of SA. Here we're talking about video games. You're not really touching anybody. There are some people that can make the argument, right? If you're savvy on the law, you understand that you don't necessarily have to physically touch somebody to commit SA. There's a lot of states, including Texas, where we are, where the law now says that sending inappropriate pictures to somebody is considered SA. So touching is not a requirement. I agree with you on that part, okay? But touching, for teabagging, for purposes of this particular action, do require some physical touching, okay? Now, I'm making this video mid-2022, okay? That response I'm giving you applies to the technology that is available in 2022. In the future, if technology, for whatever reason, evolves and is a little more immersive, that conversation and that analysis might be a little bit different. But for how things stand right now, today, teabagging, I don't think qualifies as SA, okay? With that definition, where an offender subjects a victim to physical touching that is unwanted and offensive. All right, give you guys a little more information, probably a little more than you would like. Physical touching can extend to things that are not just your person. Let me give you an example with the definition of assault, which is a tort. Let's say you walk up to somebody's car, right? They did something that makes you mad, and you decide to kick their car. They're sitting inside of it, holding onto the steering wheel. Although technically you didn't physically touch that person, you have committed assault. Why? Because their car is an extension of their person. You walk up to somebody and you're pissed off and you slap the books out of their hands. Although you didn't hit them, you have committed assault because you have touched an extension of their person, right? The technical question in this particular simple set of facts is your video game character an extension of your person? The way that the law is written today, the way with technology is today, the answer to that question is most likely no. So, for all of you Twitter warriors out there that are saying that teabagging somebody, in other words, participating in this particular act during a video game is committing SA, I don't think so. Okay, you don't have to take my word for it. Okay, I'm an attorney. I'm familiar with the law. And on most states, if not every state around the country, this does not rise to the level of SA where somebody could be criminally prosecuted. Okay, as everybody knows, we saw it here with Patty the Batty, you know, doing his thing, following him beating somebody else, you know, he teabagged. Now, in that particular instance, the other person laughed it off, and it was a joke, and everybody kind of laughed it off. Now, there's a difference between it being a criminal act versus being unsportsmanlike, okay? I'm not going to give you my particular opinion as to whether it's unsportsmanlike or not, but please be aware that if you are going to participate in activity like that some people argue is toxic, sure, right? It's not crazy to think that that particular action is toxic. Keep in mind that that may have some results for you in that particular tournament or game or whatever you're doing. Okay, remember, some people may construe that as toxic, some people may construe that as unsportsmanlike, and so you could get in trouble for it. So don't go crazy if you get punished for doing something like that. Okay, so although it's not illegal for you to do something like that, please keep in mind that it could have some effects. It could affect your ability to either continue competing in a tournament or continue to compete in future tournaments. But with that being said, please keep in mind that if you are hosting a tournament like we recently saw with Fate Legion, if you're going to be banning people for participating in that activity, make sure that your rules are clearly outlined. All right. So I'm not picking sides here, but you know, if looking at from the outside looking in, especially as an attorney, right? We live and we die by the rules. If the rules don't state that it's illegal for you to teabag, you probably should make a live comment saying, hey, you are banned. It's unsportsmanlike. It's in violation of all the rules, especially if it's not part of your rules. Okay, I know it's a bad example. I know it's kind of a one-off and it was a heat of the moment thing. I get it. But at the same time, if you're going to say something live, expect some repercussions. Okay? So, in the future, if you guys are planning on teabagging another player in a game, remember there might be some consequences. And on the same token, if you are hosting or running a tournament, make sure you guys clearly identified what's expected of all your players. Make sure you guys clearly outline the rules, what's allowed, what's not allowed, whether teabagging is considered toxic or unsportsmanlike, and whether it's in violation of your rules. Okay? Like I said, I grew up with it. Does it rise to the level of SA as everybody claims on Twitter or on Discord chats or wherever it is? I don't think so. Okay? Not because I'm just taking some subjective or objective view. It's because the law is pretty clear as to what it is. And based on my cursory review of the laws around the country, I don't think it's defined under any state that rises to the level of SA. All right. So if this clarifies anything for you, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. We are trying to put out more videos like this. We really appreciate your guys' support. If you want us to continue making these videos, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to do so. And we will continue to put out these shorter form content along with some shorter stuff on TikTok. But thank you guys so much for stopping by for this video. Again, it's kind of ridiculous that I have to do it, but nobody else has stepped up to explain exactly whether or not this is SA. And like I said, I don't think it is. So with that being said, I will see you guys on the next video.